Welcome to Best Cine Recap. Today we're diving into The Banker, a true story of a black man who defied racial barriers and built a real estate empire in the 1950s. A tale of ambition, resilience, and the power of the human spirit. Stories start with Bernard, a young black boy, shined shoes on the streets of Texas in 1939. But he wasn't just polishing leather. He was polishing his future. He chose his spot carefully, setting up shop in front of a bank. While he worked, he listened intently to the wealthy white folks who came and went. Their conversations, filled with talk of stocks, bonds, and real estate, sparked a dream within him. He wasn't just a shoe-shine boy. He was a future banker. Despite facing harsh discrimination, Bernard's determination burned bright. His father warned him that his dream was impossible, but Bernard refused to be discouraged. Years later, he and his family moved to Los Angeles, a city with a little more hope. Starting with nothing, Bernard became a real estate agent. As he explored the city, he noticed something. Black neighborhoods were overcrowded, while white neighborhoods had plenty of empty houses. He saw an opportunity, a chance to help his community and build a better future. Bernard's eyes were sharp. He spotted a rundown apartment building in a prime location. The owner was hesitant to sell, but Bernard's persistence and vision won him over. He secured a loan. With that first property, Bernard began to build a real estate empire. He proved that hard work, determination, and a sharp mind could overcome any obstacle. His story is a testament to the power of the human spirit and the importance of never giving up on your dreams. An elderly white woman, fresh from her shopping trip, was startled to see a black man at her door. "What do you think you're doing?" she demanded, her voice sharp. "I'm renovating the building," he replied calmly. "Workers like you should mind your own business," she sneered. Bernard chuckled. "Don't worry, ma'am. This building is mine. I'll take good care of it." The woman was speechless. A few moments later, the police arrived. The woman had reported a trespasser. The officers questioned Bernard, but he was ready. He pulled out the property deed, proving his ownership. The police left, embarrassed. Later that evening, Bernard returned to the building. The same woman confronted him again, demanding he leave. "I'm not a worker anymore," he said, a hint of amusement in his voice. "I'm the owner." The woman was stunned. A few days later, she moved out, unable to bear the thought of living in a building owned by a black man. Bernard quickly rented out the vacant unit to a black tenant. He had anticipated the growing demand for housing in the black community. The building filled up rapidly, and he paid the original owner the promised bonus. Impressed by Bernard's business acumen, the former owner proposed a partnership. Together, they could buy more properties and reap the rewards, discreetly operating behind the scenes to avoid racial prejudice. Bernard agreed. Their partnership was a success, and soon he was able to move his family into a beautiful mansion. Bernard's strategy was clear. He wouldn't stoop to their level. Instead, he used his intelligence and determination to outsmart his opponents. By focusing on financial gain and playing by his own rules, he achieved his dreams and proved that prejudice is no match for a sharp mind and a strong will. Life, however, doesn't always run smoothly. A few years later, the old man passed away. His wife, a bitter woman who despised black people, inherited his share of the business. She offered to buy Bernard's shares at a ridiculously low price, threatening legal action if he refused. In a time of racial prejudice, a black man's word against a white woman's would always favor the latter. Bernard refused to be bullied and decided to fight back, and he needed a witness, someone to testify about his partnership with the old man. He turned to the bank manager, but the man, fearing the widow's influence, turned him away. Standing in the bank, Bernard felt a surge of anger and frustration. The very institution that symbolized financial power and opportunity had rejected him simply because of the color of his skin. A bold plan began to form in his mind. He would buy the entire building. Bernard approached Joe, another black real estate developer, with his audacious plan. At first, Joe was skeptical. The price was exorbitant, and no black person had ever owned property in downtown LA. But Bernard's strategic thinking impressed Joe. By owning the building, Bernard would gain leverage over the banks. They would be forced to lend him money and share valuable market information. It was a masterstroke. To bridge the racial divide, they needed a white frontman. They found Matt, a hardworking and ambitious young man. Bernard and Joe mentored Matt, teaching him the intricacies of real estate, golf etiquette, and high society manners. Matt quickly transformed into a sophisticated businessman. He could calculate property values on the golf course, a testament to his newfound skills. Matt, armed with the knowledge and strategies provided by Bernard, met with the building owner. The conversation flowed smoothly, and Matt secured the opportunity to purchase the building. Before the negotiations began, Bernard meticulously prepared Matt. He analyzed the building's occupancy rate, estimated its value based on income and expenses, and prepared a detailed financial analysis. Matt memorized these figures, ready to counter any argument or bluff from the owner. During the negotiations, Matt surprised the owner with his precise knowledge of the building's financials. The owner and his accountant were stunned by Matt's sharp mind and ability to instantly calculate figures. In the end, Bernard managed to purchase the building for a significantly lower price than the initial asking price. The banks, once reluctant to deal with him, now eagerly sought his business. Bernard and Joe, with their innovative approach, began to challenge the racial segregation in Los Angeles. They helped many black families move into previously white neighborhoods. Their success story caught the attention of the Vice President of the United States. Years later, Bernard returned to his hometown in Texas. While visiting his father, he encountered a young black shoeshine boy who refused to serve black customers. This realization ignited a fire within Bernard. He wanted to improve the lives of his fellow black people, especially in his hometown. Bernard convinced Joe to invest in a bank in Texas, a state known for its deep-rooted racism. Together with Matt, they embarked on another ambitious project, determined to make a difference. Bernard and Joe, along with Matt, met with Robert Florence Sr. and his son, Robert Jr. Despite the younger Florence's skepticism, the elder Florence agreed to sell the bank. With the acquisition of the mainland bank, Bernard began to work tirelessly to help African Americans in the town secure loans. He aimed to level the playing field, giving his community a fair chance at home ownership and financial prosperity. However, trouble was brewing. Florence Jr., suspicious of the bank's activities, started investigating the approved loans. He confronted Bernard, Joe, and Matt, threatening to report them to the U.S. Treasury Department for a bank inspection. Faced with this threat, Matt proposed a bold solution, buying another bank and transferring the problematic loans to the new institution. They targeted the Bank of Marlin. While Bernard initially hesitated, he eventually agreed, assigning Eunice to oversee Matt's activities. Unfortunately, Matt's haste and disregard for protocol led to serious consequences. He signed off on several questionable loans, facilitated by a corrupt lawyer connected to Florence Jr. When a federal bank examiner arrived to inspect the Bank of Marlin, the extent of the problem became clear. Bernard, disguised as a janitor, tried to intervene but couldn't prevent the inevitable. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Bernard and Joe made the difficult decision to abandon the Bank of Marlin. They had learned a hard lesson about the importance of diligence and oversight. Joe, furious at Matt's betrayal, confronts him at the bank. As tensions rise, federal bank examiners arrive to shut down the bank. Bernard and Joe are arrested, caught in a web of corruption and deceit. In prison, Bernard and Joe face the harsh reality of their situation. The racial politics of the time further complicate their legal battle. Matt, meanwhile, strikes a deal with Senator Mullen, testifying against his former partners in exchange for immunity. Bernard, faced with a difficult choice, refuses to compromise his integrity. He uses the opportunity to expose the systemic racism and injustice that had plagued the country. As a result of the scandal, Bernard and Joe lose their fortune and are imprisoned. Florence Jr. seizes the opportunity to buy the mainland bank at a fraction of its worth. Years later, Bernard and Joe are released from prison. Despite their losses, they remain optimistic. Eunice, surprised by their positive attitude, learns about their secret, a hidden fortune in the Bahamas. Matt, feeling remorseful, had informed Bernard of the senator's offer and helped them secure their assets before the government could seize them. Bernard and Joe's legacy, though tarnished by the scandal, lives on. Their fight against housing segregation and their unwavering friendship continue to inspire. And that's a wrap on The Banker, a story that proves that with determination and intelligence, you can overcome any obstacle. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps. Until next time, keep watching, keep learning, and keep inspiring.